Love is universal for the world, and that's the most powerful weapon in the world to heal us all.
He's going to kill 5 people. The last is going to be himself. Herself, her daughter, her 2 sons.
Boys were able to, we believe, talk Mr. Green out of killing them.
Police say as soon as she walked into this house, she was attacked, and then so were her kids.
He decided, he plotted out a plan to kill all 5 of them.
The mountains that we can move all at one time. You can move a mountain by a grain of sand, a grain of dirt, one at a time.
Conviction of Gary Green. You know, it's chilling when you hear about cases like this one. Gary Green, at the age of 51, was brought to justice in Texas for a gruesome double slaying that shook everyone. In 2009, he committed the unthinkable, taking the lives of his wife, Lavetta Armstead, and her innocent 6-year-old daughter, Jasmine Montgomery.
Boys were able to, we believe, talk Mr. Green out of killing them.
On this day, her distraught sister comes by the house, hoping there was a mistake.
The details are beyond disturbing. Green was found guilty in 2010 for these despicable acts, knifing Armstead to demise, and then drowning young Montgomery in a bathtub. It's hard to fathom the kind of darkness that can lead to such horrifying actions. What's even more unsettling is that Green didn't try to run or hide from what he'd done. He turned himself in to the police, and he confessed to these heinous slayings. It's a grim reminder that evil sometimes walks among us, even in plain sight. Cases like this highlight the importance of the justice system and the need to hold individuals accountable for their actions, no matter how horrific. Green's conviction and putting down serve as a somber testament to the pursuit of justice in the face of unspeakable tragedies, intellectual disability, and mental health. Well, let's delve deeper into the convoluted world of the criminal justice system. Gary Green's case is a prime example of the complexity and moral ambiguity surrounding the ending penalty when it intersects with issues of intellectual disability and mental health.
We believe talk Mr. Green out of killing them.
When I love somebody, I love them. Whether it's a friend, family, I love unconditional.
Green's defense team, in a valiant effort to save him from the ultimate punishment, raised crucial points. They contended that his intellectual impairments and likely diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder should have rendered him ineligible for the ending penalty. Intellectual disability is a well-established exemption for the ending penalty according to the US Supreme Court's guidelines. However, things get murkier when it comes to severe mental illnesses. In essence, the defense argued that Green's mental health, specifically schizoaffective disorder, should have factored significantly in his sentencing. Mental health issues can profoundly impact an individual's ability to understand the consequences of their actions.
Police say as soon as she walked into this house, she was attacked, and then so were her kids.
So from trial through all of the appeals, much has been made about Gary Green's mental illness
and their moral culpability, which are fundamental considerations in a capital case. However, despite these compelling arguments, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals chose to uphold Green's conviction and, ultimately, ending his sentence. The decision raises perplexing questions about the intersection of mental health and the ending penalty, particularly in a state known for its strict stance on capital punishment. A tragic background. The story of Gary Green's double slaying of his wife, Lavetta Armstead, and her 6-year-old daughter, Jasmine Montgomery, is a harrowing tale of domestic strife that culminated in unspeakable tragedy. The root of this horrific crime lay in the unraveling of Green's marriage to Lavetta Armstead. When Lavetta expressed her desire to annul their marriage, a horrifying and violent sequence of events was set in motion. Green's reaction to this revelation was far from rational.
Gary Green, comes out of Dallas, Texas. And Gary Green grew up in Dallas.
The children were not Green's biologically. Neighbors say he was a devoted father.
It was a descent into nightmare. In the darkest of actions, Green fatally knifed Lavetta Armstead, extinguishing her life in a brutal act of violence. This initial act of brutality was just the beginning, as Green turned his fury towards her innocent 6-year-old daughter, Jasmine Montgomery. He subjected the child to an equally horrific end, drowning her in a bathtub. It's a grim and haunting scene that's almost too painful to comprehend. But amid the darkness of this crime, there is a glimmer of hope in the form of Lovetta's 2 older sons. In the face of imminent danger, they summon incredible courage and manage to persuade Green not to harm them. Their bravery saved their lives, a ray of life in a story dominated by despair. Green's threat to slay Armstead and her 3 children exposes the depths of his malevolence. It's a chilling reminder of how domestic disputes can escalate to unimaginable horrors. The fact that 2 innocent lives were snuffed out, and 2 young boys had to witness this brutality.
Prison is a place, death row is a place that's, yes, solitary confinement, but...
Wait a minute, what happened? I just got a phone call.
Is a tragedy that leaves a profound scar on the collective conscience. The chilling reality is that cases like this one highlights the importance of addressing domestic issues, mental health, and anger management before they escalate to violence. These incidents serve as a stark reminders of the destructive potential of unchecked emotions and interpersonal conflicts. Gary Green's final statement. In the final moments before facing his own fate, Gary Green made a poignant and heartfelt plea for redemption.
Try to get this ship right. And the ship that I'm talking about, the shipwreck that I've been on my whole life.
Back at the house, he stabbed the younger boy in the stomach. His older brother was not hurt.
His words in his last statement revealed a complex and emotional journey towards understanding the enormity of his actions. Green's plea was not for himself, but for people who had wronged the most, the victim's family. In a tone of genuine remorse, he acknowledged the profound harm he had caused. In a voice weighed down by the burdens of his crime, he begged for forgiveness. "I ask that you forgive me, not for me, but for y'all," Green implored, recognizing the enduring pain and suffering that his actions had inflicted on the family of his victims. His appeal transcended a simple request for absolution. It was a plea for their healing. His words carried a powerful message, a plea for the victim's family to find a way to move forward and find solace despite the incomprehensible loss they had endured. It was a poignant acknowledgement of the pain they had borne and a humble request to help them on their journey to recovery. Green's final statement, delivered in the shadow of his impending putting down, serves as a reminder of the complex and profound emotions that can surround such cases. It highlights the importance of addressing not only the consequences of the actions, but also the potential for remorse and the human capacity for change. Expired putting down drugs. Alright, let's dive into the legal tangle over expired putting down drugs in Texas.
You couldn't tell if they were or were not. You know, he was like a dad to them. He'd have them outside and the little girl would ride her bicycle. And
he decided, he plotted out a plan to kill all 5 of them.
Drug case that he did probation for. And he had a robbery case that he was sentenced to 20 years on.
It's a head-spinning situation that's been making waves, even in the world of capital punishment. Here's the deal. Texas, a state known for its no-nonsense approach to the ending penalty, found itself in a tight spot when it came to getting its hands on lethal injection drugs. These substances are critical for putting downs, and when supplies ran low, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice decided to extend the use-by dates. It's like using milk past its expiration date, but a whole lot more serious. Now, inmates on Ending Row weren't exactly thrilled about this. They had some strong objections.
Yeah, Heather, Ray Montgomery Jr. says he's forgiven the man who killed his baby girl and her mother.
The mountains that we can move all at one time, you can move a mountain by a grain of sand, a grain of dirt, one at a time.
she was a very kind lady and she did not deserve what happened to her.
And they weren't afraid to air them. Their main argument? Using these expired drugs could amount to cruel and unusual punishment, which is a big no-no under the US Constitution. This legal showdown isn't just about outdated meds. It's a deep dive into the ethics of the ending penalty. It's one thing to debate whether capital punishment is right or wrong, but now we're talking about the nitty-gritty details of how it's done. And let's be real, using expired drugs for something as serious as putting down sounds more than a little dodgy. And it's a topic that's both grave and full of complexities. Family and witness reactions. Facing the putting down of a perpetrator for a heinous crime is a profoundly emotional and complex experience, and the reactions from the family and witnesses of Lavetta Armstead and Jasmine Montgomery reflect the depth of this complexity.
I look at the storms too, because the storms is what makes us who we really are. Because
his intellectual disabilities caused him to commit these murders. So far, the answer has been...
On the day of Gary Green's putting down, the courtroom was heavy with the presence of Lavetta Armstead and Jasmine Montgomery's family members, along with other witnesses. Each one bore witness to the culmination of a painful chapter that had haunted them for years. Jasmine's father, Ray Montgomery, stood as a central figure in this heart-wrenching drama. For him, Green's putting down represented a semblance of justice, a reckoning for the unimaginable tragedy that had befallen his family. The feelings of closure and retribution must have been overwhelming, even as he acknowledged that it would never fully erase the pain of losing his daughter. However, not all family members chose to share their thoughts with reporters. The silence and avoidance of the public eye by some may speak to the profound emotional turmoil and suffering that this experience had caused them. The trauma of enduring such a traumatic loss, coupled with the grim finality of Green's putting down, would have left indelible scars. The impact of the crime and the subsequent putting down of Gary Green reverberates through the lives of the victim's loved ones.
He's going to kill 5 people. The last is going to be himself. Herself, her daughter, her 2 sons.
Love is universal for the world, and that's the most powerful weapon in the world to heal us all.
It is a poignant reminder that the ripple effects of such tragic events extend far beyond the courtroom. The emotional wounds, though hidden from the public eye, run deep and endure long after justice has been served. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.